So today we're going to go over 3 more case studies today. And so in doing that, hopefully you'll better understand the blockchain and what it's trying to deliver. So today we're going to delve mostly into how finance is benefited by using blockchain. Now, it would seem by looking at all the cryptocurrencies that blockchain is just a finance thing anyway, but really it's not. Finance can be benefited in a lot of different ways by the use of a blockchain that's meant for the business rather than just for the cryptocurrencies that are outside of the business. So what we have is we have a wheel here that Deloitte & Touche put together. Okay, so blockchain helps business in an operational sense. We're going to discuss specifically today the procure-to-pay section of operational finance. And what that means is it helps to streamline that particular area of finance. Other areas such as taxes and treasury are 2 areas that we're going to also talk about. So they refer to these areas up here as the operating functions of a business. And every business, when it starts getting of any size, has a finance function that has to perform all of these different operations that are in blue. Okay, and so these are kind of the international norms, so to speak. Various companies may have specific functions that are not listed here, but these are generally the ones that are most often dealt with in finance department. Procure-to-pay finance. Now, procure-to-pay is a description of when a company goes out to purchase a product, it then has to be invoiced and then pay the invoice. Now, so what you've got here is procurement, buying the product, and then the business paying for the product. Now, part of the challenge is that businesses that do business with each other sometimes will have a difference of opinion as to how much the bill is. And so what procure-to-pay finance does, and let me pop up a larger version of this here, is one company will have its software and its financial data, and then if you have a blockchain that's managing the data between the 2 companies, whenever the company does an invoice that's needed to be paid by the other company, it goes through the blockchain and immediately appears in the other company's blockchain software. So each company has, through the distributed ledger, exact copies of the data on both sides. So whether it's an invoice or whether it's a purchase requisition, depending on which side of the business you're on, whether you're company A or company B, whether you're buying or selling, if you have a blockchain working between you, have one version of the truth. Well, that simplifies a lot of information. In fact, ERP systems have been in existence since about the 90s, but now it's becoming kind of old technology in a way, because now that technology, while they tried to keep linking these ERP systems so that the ERP system would talk from company to company, now blockchain, just in its native version by 2 companies joining the same blockchain and purchasing and requisitioning each other from that same blockchain, instantly have the same information without having to have this ERP coordination and sending files over to the other ERP system and linking things that way. And so what happens is you have, as it is highlighted here, a single source of the truth between the buyer and the seller, enabled by a shared and distributed platform. So we're going to talk, of course, a lot about this shared platform, or the distributed nature of a blockchain platform when two companies get together to use it. Now, later on, we'll talk about, well, wait a minute. Boeing and Lockheed Martin are competitors, but they buy and sell to each other. How are they going to use the same blockchain as competitors? Well, they can use the same blockchain because permissions are given within a private blockchain to see only the data that pertains to Lockheed Martin or that pertains to Boeing. And so with those private keys that we've talked about, you can only see your data given the permissions that you have within each of your systems. Okay, so the corporate world where information is decentralized across companies, it's unavoidable that the information is not aligned. And that's the challenge that you have when you have an ERP system, is one system may be misaligned from the other. Then you've got to have people as intermediaries in between to figure out where the difference lies and who needs, which side of the ledger needs to be corrected. And then you have extra expense. But if you have a distributed database or distributed ledger in the case of a blockchain, you end up with a single source of the truth, and a purchase is done, delivery happens on the other side, an invoice is generated, the company receiving the product then quickly can pay according to whatever terms are agreed to between the companies, whether it's net 30 or net 10 or pay on delivery, whatever the terms are in the contract. The contract is held within the blockchain so that the blockchain then manages both the receipt and the payment. Similar to what an ERP system would do if you were familiar with ERP systems, but it just does it quicker and a bit easier because of the distributed nature of the database. The next piece of that is that we talked a little bit about a contract between the two companies. Well, a supplier and a vendor, a purchaser, will have a contract between them. And what happens in a blockchain system is that can become very much like a smart contract. In fact, that information would be embedded in a smart contract that says vendor company such and such has these terms with the receiving company such and such. So if we were dealing with Lockheed Martin and we bought a product from them to go in one of any number of our vehicles, whether it be a satellite or a spacecraft or a plane or a jet, military versus commercial, whatever the product is, if we bought it from them, they would then ship it to us. They would have the contract that says how much we're supposed to be paying for it. It would be shipped. We'd receive it. We'd tell the blockchain that we've received it. And once we tell the blockchain that we've received it, the invoice is immediately created from that receipt and immediately then paid to Lockheed according to the contractual arrangement that would be embedded in the smart contract. So it's very quickly and easily taken care of, and it makes it a lot simpler for each of the two companies to continue doing business with each other.